Lawrence Edward Page is an American businessman, computer scientist and internet entrepreneur best known for co-founding Google with Sergey Brin. Born, March 26, 1973, age 51 years, Lansing, Michigan, United States. Net worth, 12,520 crores USD, 2024 Forbes. Spouse, Lucinda Southworth M., 2007. Education, Stanford University, 1998, more. Children 2. Siblings, Carl Victor Page, Jr. Parents, Gloria Page, Carl Victor Page. Early life. Lawrence Edward Page was born on March 26, 1973, in Lansing, Michigan. His mother is Jewish. His maternal grandfather later immigrated to Israel, though Page's household while growing up was secular. His father, Carl Victor Page Sr., earned a Ph.D. in computer science from the University of Michigan. BBC reporter Will Smale described him as a pioneer in computer science and artificial intelligence. Page's paternal grandparents came from a Protestant background. Page's father was a computer science professor at Michigan State University and his mother Gloria was an instructor in computer programming at Lyman Briggs College at the same institution. Larry's parents divorced when he was 8 years old, but he maintained a good relationship both with his mother Gloria and his father's long-term partner and MSU professor Joyce Wildenthal, Ch. 2. When Larry Page was 6 years old, in 1979, his father brought home an XID Sorcerer computer, which Larry soon mastered and began using for schoolwork. During an interview, Page recalled his childhood home was usually a mess, with computers, science, and technology magazines and popular science magazines all over the place, an environment in which he immersed himself. Page was an avid reader during his youth, writing in his 2013 Google Founders letter, "I remember spending a huge amount of time poring over books and magazines." According to writer Nicholas Carlson, the combined influence of Page's home atmosphere and his attentive parents fostered creativity and invention. Page also played instruments and studied music composition while growing up. His parents sent him to music summer camp, Interlochen Arts Camp in Interlochen, Michigan, and Page has mentioned that his musical education inspired his impatience and obsession with speed in computing. "In some sense, I feel like music training led to the high-speed legacy of Google for me." In an interview, Page said that in music, you're very cognizant of time. Time is like the primary thing, and that if you think about it from a music point of view, if you're a percussionist, you hit something, it's got to happen in milliseconds, fractions of a second. Page was first attracted to computers when he was 6 years old, as he was able to play with the stuff lying around, first-generation personal computers, that had been left by his mother and father. He became the first kid in his elementary school to turn in an assignment from a word processor. His older brother Carl Victor Page Jr., Ch. 2 also taught him to take things apart, and before long he was taking everything in his house apart to see how it worked. He said that from a very early age, I also realized I wanted to invent things. So I became interested in technology and business. Probably from when I was 12, I knew I was going to start a company eventually. Personal life. In the early 2000s, Page briefly dated Marissa Mayer, American business leader and former CEO of Yahoo, who was a Google employee at that time. On February 18, 2005, Page bought a 9,000 square feet, 840 square meters, Spanish colonial revival architecture house in Palo Alto, California, designed by American artistic polymath Pedro Joseph de Lemos, a former curator of the Stanford Art Museum and founder of the Carmel Art Institute, after the historic building had been on the market for years with an asking price of $7.95 million. A two-story stucco archway spans the driveway and the home features intricate stucco work, as well as stone and tile in California arts and crafts movement style built to resemble de Lemos's family's castle in Spain. The Pedro de Lemos house was constructed between 1931 and 1941 by de Lemos. It is also on the National Register of Historic Places. In 2007, Page married Lucinda Southworth on Necker Island, the Caribbean island owned by Richard Branson. Southworth is a research scientist and the sister of American actress and model Carrie Southworth. Page and Southworth have 2 children, born in 2009 and 2011 respectively. In 2009, Page began purchasing properties and tearing down homes adjacent to his home in Palo Alto to make room for a large eco-house. The existing buildings were deconstructed and the materials donated for reuse. The eco-house was designed to minimize the impact on the environment. Page worked with an arborist to replace some trees that were in poor health with others that used less water to maintain. Page also applied for Green Point certification, with points given for use of recycled and low or no VOC volatile organic compound materials and for a roof garden with solar panels. The house's exterior features zinc cladding and plenty of windows, including a wall of sliding glass doors in the rear. It includes eco-friendly elements such as permeable paving in the parking court and a pervious path through the trees on the property. The 6,000 square feet, 560 square meters, house also observes other green home design features such as organic architecture building materials and low volatile organic compound paint. In 2011, Page bought the $45 million 193-foot, 59M superyacht Senses. Later on, Page announced on his Google Plus profile in May 2013 that his right vocal cord is paralyzed from a cold that he contracted the previous summer, while his left cord was paralyzed in 1999 and that the doctors were unable to identify the exact cause. The Google Plus post also revealed that Page had made a large donation to a vocal cord nerve function research program at the Voice Health Institute in Boston. An anonymous source stated that the donation exceeded $20 million. In October 2013, Business Insider reported that Page's paralysis were caused by an autoimmune disease called Hashimoto's thyroiditis and prevented him from undertaking Google quarterly earnings conference calls for an indefinite period. In November 2014, Page's family foundation, the Carl Victor Page Memorial Fund, reportedly holding assets in excess of $1 billion at the end of 2013, gave $15 million to aid the effort against the Ebola virus epidemic in West Africa. Page wrote on his Google Plus page that my wife and I just donated $15 million. Our hearts go out to everyone affected. In August 2021 it was revealed that Page holds a New Zealand residence visa and had traveled to the country on a medevac flight from Fiji for his son's treatment in New Zealand. The flight took place on January 12, 2021. Page had been living in Fiji with his family during the duration of the COVID-19 pandemic. In 2023, the U.S. Virgin Islands tried several times to serve Page a subpoena in the lawsuit over J.P. Morgan Chase's links to Jeffrey Epstein. Page has purchased multiple private islands across the Caribbean and South Pacific, including the Hans Lalik Island in 2014, Eustatia Island, Cayo Norte in 2018, and Tavarua in 2020.